I need to begin this report by stating, for the record, that I have served as Galactic Threat Assessment Director for 73 cycles. My skin had remained a calm, professional teal for the entirety of my career. I mention this because, as of 47 hours ago, I have not returned to teal. I am currently a shade that my medical supervisor describes as concerning mauve with panic striping. The human did this to me. Let me start at the beginning. The Galactic Archives station maintains a database of every known species in charted space. Threat levels, biological capabilities, cultural notes, diplomatic status, everything necessary to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to war, extinction events, or worse, paperwork. I monitor this database. It is not exciting work. It is, however, usually safe work. At 0300 station time, I was reviewing routine updates in the central assessment chamber, the holographic display sphere casting blue light across my sensory tendrils, when something unprecedented happened. An entire species entry vanished, not updated, not archived, deleted. My skin flashed bright orange, the Icarian equivalent of choking on one's beverage. I pulled up the logs with both arms moving frantically across the holographic controls. Species 7741. Humans. Status had been non-threat. Category minimal. Now the entire file was simply gone. Plexer! I called out. The Clickthar junior archivist scuttled over on his two legs, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic chaos, mandibles already clicking nervously. Plexor was young, barely into his third molt, and his antennae had a habit of drooping whenever anything unexpected occurred, which, given his job, was constantly. Director? His mandibles clacked. Your color. The human entry is gone, completely erased from the database. I gestured with one arm at the sphere while my other arm pulled up security footage. Access logs show. Station Maintenance Terminal 7. Plexor's antennae drooped so far they nearly touched his chitinous shoulders. That's in the lower archive junction. Should I call security? No. We investigate first. I was already moving toward the exit, my tail swishing with agitation. A species doesn't simply disappear from our records without reason. Either this is a catastrophic system failure, or someone deleted them on purpose, Plexor finished, his mandibles clicking in a rapid staccato of anxiety. We found her 20 minutes later. The human Edwin, her identification badge red, was sitting at Terminal 7 with her legs propped up on the console, drinking something from a cylindrical container. She was small by human standards, I would later learn, with dark circles under her eyes and fabric coverings that appeared to have not been cleaned in several cycles.
1 minute.
Oh, hey,
Our mission?
she said, not looking up from her handheld device. You guys need something?
Urgent.
I'm almost done with the defrag. My skin shifted to a confused purple. You are performing maintenance? Yeah, your system was running slow, like glacially slow. She took a long drink from her container, found a bunch of corrupted entries, some duplicate files, the usual nightmare. Should be good in like 20 minutes. Plexor's chitin had darkened to near black. Did you delete any species entries? Oh, yeah. That one had a typo in it. Whole thing was corrupted, probably a data entry error from whoever set it up initially. Don't worry. I backed everything up first. She finally looked at us, her two forward-facing predator eyes blinking slowly. Wait, you guys look stressed. Is everything okay? I felt my sensory tendrils curl inward. Which entry did you delete? She tapped her device. Species 7741. The file name was just humans, but all the data inside was gibberish. Like, it said they were non-threat and had them listed as having standard biological parameters. She laughed a barking sound that made Plexor jump. Obviously corrupted. I mean, I'm human, and that's definitely not accurate. My skin went white, pure, absolute white, the Icarian color of existential dread. You're human, I repeated slowly. Yeah? She gestured at herself with one arm while her other arm continued manipulating her device. Edwin, I'm with the station maintenance crew. Been here like 6 months? I became aware that my beak was clicking uncontrollably. Plexor had frozen entirely, his mandibles locked mid-clack. The human Edwin was watching us with what I would later recognize as mild concern, the same expression one might use when noticing a plant needed watering. The entry wasn't corrupted, I managed to say. Edwin's face shifted in configuration, eyebrows rising. A human expression I did not yet understand. What do you mean? It said you guys were non-threats with standard biology. That's obviously wrong. Why? I asked, feeling my skin begin cycling through colors rapidly. Is that obviously wrong? She stared at me, then at Plexor, then back at me. Because I'm human? She said it like she was explaining something to a hatchling. We're persistence hunters from a death world with redundant organs and overclocked healing? Our planet has like 5 extinction-level events in its geological record and we just kept going? We can eat mild poisons for fun and our anxiety response makes us stronger? Plexor made a sound I had never heard a Clickthar make before, a high-pitched keen that emanated from somewhere deep in his thorax. Edwin continued, oblivious. Plus the whole thing where we made alliance with our predators and turned them into different shapes for aesthetic purposes. And the endurance thing, oh, and the throwing. We can throw stuff with insane accuracy because we used to chase our food until it died of exhaustion and then throw rocks at it. She paused. Did you guys not know this? No, I whispered. My skin was now a color I didn't recognize. The previous assessment was filed 200 cycles ago by a survey team. It listed humans as non-threat, minimal biological advantages, standard diplomatic potential. Wow! Edwin took another drink. That's like super wrong. Who did that assessment? They are no longer with us, I said faintly. There was an incident with a Category 9 predator species. They were deemed unlucky. Huh, Edwin nodded sympathetically. Yeah, the galaxy's dangerous. Good thing you've got humans in the Alliance now, right? We're pretty good at the whole survival thing. My sensory tendrils had curled into tight spirals. Edwin, I need you to answer some questions for me. Formally. Sure, but I should finish this defrag first. Now, I said, with more force than I intended. My skin was flashing crimson. Please. Something in my tone must have translated across our species barrier, because Edwin's expression shifted, eyes widening slightly, body language changing to something more alert. She set down her cylindrical container and stood, using both legs in a smooth motion that shouldn't have been possible given the station's variable gravity. Okay, she said slowly. Are you guys all right? You look, she gestured vaguely at me, colorful. I am experiencing significant distress, I said with what I felt was remarkable calm. Plexor, please initiate a Code Yellow inquiry. We need to reassess the human species immediately. Plexor's antennae were completely flat against his head. Director, a Code Yellow requires Council authorization. That level of reassessment is only used when a species poses potential existential threat to galactic stability, yes. I was already moving back toward the central assessment chamber, my tail lashing behind me. Edwin, please come with us. Am I in trouble? Edwin asked, following with an easy gait that covered ground far too quickly. Because I swear I backed up all the files before I deleted anything. That's like basic protocol. You are not in trouble, I said. Then, more quietly, we may be. The central assessment chamber felt different now. The holographic sphere that had seemed so authoritative this morning now felt fragile. I pulled up a new file blank and designated it Species 7741, Emergency Reassessment. Edwin stood in the center of the room, looking around with unconcealed curiosity. Her eyes, those forward-facing predator eyes, tracked movement with unnerving precision. Plexor positioned himself at a secondary terminal, his 2 arms poised over controls while his mandibles clicked a nervous rhythm. Let's start with basics, I said, forcing my voice to remain level. Edwin, what is your planet's classification? Earth? She scratched her head with one arm. It's a terrestrial world. Class M variant. Nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. Single moon. Lots of water. Pretty standard, I think. Gravity level? 1 standard G. Whatever that translates to in your measurement. 9.8 meters per second squared, Plexor interjected, his mandibles frozen mid-click. Director, that's high. I felt a cold sensation in my core. Edwin, what
Like
is the
21%.
atmospheric oxygen percentage on Earth?
Why does this matter?
Like 21%? She shrugged. Why? My skin went gray. Plexor's chitin darkened to absolute black. That's a fire world, Plexor whispered. Director, she's from a fire world. Anything above 18% oxygen creates a volatile combustion environment. How does anything survive? Oh, yeah. We have wildfires all the time, Edwin said cheerfully. Some of our plants literally require fire to reproduce. It's pretty metal. She paused. Is that bad? Continue, I said faintly. Edwin, you mentioned persistence hunting. Please explain. Sure. So, humans aren't fast, right? Most predators on Earth could outrun us in a sprint, but we can jog for hours, days, even, if we're trained. So we just follow our prey, walking, jogging, not even running hard, just constant movement until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Then we'd walk up and kill it. She mimed, throwing something with one arm. We got really good at throwing during this period. Our shoulders have this ball joint thing that lets us whip our arms in ways most species can't. We can throw projectiles at like 90 miles per hour with accuracy up to... Stop, I said. My beak was clicking uncontrollably. You chased animals until they died of exhaustion. Well, technically until they overheated. Most Earth predators can't sweat like we can, so they have to stop running to cool down. We don't. We just keep going. Edwin smiled, baring her teeth in what I now understood was not a threat display, but somehow worse, a friendly gesture. Pretty efficient, honestly. Plexor had sat down. Clicthar rarely sit. It is generally considered a sign of either illness or psychological collapse. The predators you domesticated, I heard myself say. Explain. Oh, you mean dogs? Yeah, they're great. We partnered up with wolves like 15,000 years ago, bred them into all different sizes and shapes. Now we've got tiny ones that fit in bags and huge ones that can pull sleds. They live in our homes, sleep in our beds. We feed them and... You sleep with your predators, I interrupted. Well, they're not really predators anymore. They're companions. We've got cats too. Those are still kind of predators, honestly. They hunt for fun. We just let them do that. Edwin's expression shifted again. Are you guys okay? You both look really horrified, Plexor finished. His voice sounded distant. We look horrified. I need to ask about your biology, I said. My skin was cycling through colors so fast I was probably generating a light show. You mentioned redundant organs? Oh, yeah. 2 lungs, 2 kidneys. We can lose like a quarter of our liver and it'll just grow back. Hearts are singular, but we can keep functioning for a while even with catastrophic damage if we get medical attention fast enough. Our blood clots on contact with air to seal wounds. We've got this whole immune system that basically wages war on anything foreign in our bodies. Your healing factor? I interrupted again. Define. Overclocked. Edwin tilted her head, another gesture I didn't understand yet. Like, broken bones heal in weeks, cuts seal in days. We can survive losing up to 40% of our blood volume. Our cells have this programmed death thing to prevent cancer. But sometimes we get it anyway, so we invented chemicals that kill the cancer, which also nearly kills us. But then we heal from that, too. Silence. The holographic sphere rotated slowly. Plexor's antennae had fallen completely off. I didn't know that could happen.
Know this could
Edwin,
happen to a Clicthar.
I said carefully. You mentioned anxiety makes you stronger? Oh, the adrenaline response? Yeah. When we're scared or stressed, our bodies dump chemicals that temporarily boost our strength, speed, and pain tolerance. It's pretty useful in emergencies. I've heard stories of people lifting ground vehicles off trapped family members and stuff. That's not possible, Plexor whispered. That violates basic biological limitations. I mean, it damages our muscles pretty badly. Edwin
Damages
said,
muscles,
but
but
we
we heal
heal
so.
so. She shrugged again, that strange shoulder movement that I now realized showcased her species' unnatural joint flexibility. My sensory tendrils were tied in knots. Last question for now, I said. My voice sounded strange even to me. Edwin, how long has your species been spacefaring? Uh, we've had the warp drive for like 80 years, but we've only been in the Galactic Alliance for about a year. Still pretty new to the whole interstellar community thing. 80 years, I repeated. You developed faster than light travel in less than a standard century? Well, we had some help from the initial contact protocols, but yeah, we figured it out pretty fast once we understood the physics. Humans are good at the whole problem solving. An alarm blared. Red light flooded the central assessment chamber. Plexor scrambled to his terminal on his two legs, mandibles clattering in panic. Director! His voice was pitched high. Emergency alert from the medical wing. There's been an incident. What kind of incident? My skin was solid crimson now. A patient in the xenobiology research lab. One of the containment fields failed. Subject is a Class 7 toxic organism. The researchers are trapped inside with... Edwin was already moving. She had one arm pulling tools from her belt while her other arm was manipulating her handheld device. Which lab? How many people trapped? Lab 7? Subsection C? 4 researchers? Edwin, you cannot. She was gone. Through the door at a speed that should have been impossible in station gravity, moving with a predator's economy of motion. Plexor and I stared at each other. She's going to attempt a rescue, Plexor said. His mandibles had stopped clicking. He had gone beyond fear into a state I recognized as shock. Yes, I said faintly. Of a Class 7 containment breach. Yes. The human who persistence hunts, throws projectiles at 90 miles per hour, heals from catastrophic damage, can lift ground vehicles while terrified, and comes from a fire world with 9.8 gravity. Yes. My skin was now a color that I later learned has no name in the Icarian language. The closest translation would be the color of someone who has just realized their entire understanding of reality was incorrect. Plexor's antennae were attempting to grow back in real time, a stress response I had only read about in textbooks. Director, he said slowly, I think the previous survey team was very, very wrong about humans being non-threats. I think, I replied, watching the emergency alerts multiply across the holographic sphere, that might be the most significant understatement in galactic history. We reached Lab 7 in what I believe was record time, though my perception of temporal flow had become unreliable. My skin was strobing between colors so rapidly that Plexor had asked me to please stop doing that
Breach is
twice
critical.
during
I
our
know.
sprint through the
Prepare
corridors.
for entry.
The scene outside the lab was controlled chaos. Security personnel, a mix of species I was too stressed to identify, had cordoned off the area. Through the reinforced viewing window, I could see the interior. 4 researchers pressed against the far wall, a writhing mass of toxic pseudopods extending from a breached containment unit, and Edwin, who had somehow already entered the sealed lab. Edwin, who was approaching the Class 7 organism with nothing but a maintenance toolkit and what appeared to be complete confidence. How did she get inside? I asked the security guard by the door. My beak was clicking so rapidly it had become a continuous buzz. The guard, whose species I should have noted but couldn't focus enough to identify, gestured helplessly with whatever appendages they possessed. She just walked in, override the lockdown with her maintenance credentials, said she could probably fix it. Probably, Plexo repeated. His mandibles had locked in the open position. She said, probably. Through the window, we watched Edwin circle the organism. It was a Zelkoth symbiote, semi-sentient, highly toxic, capable of dissolving most carbon-based life on contact. The fact that it had escaped containment meant the magnetic field generators had failed. Standard protocol was to evacuate, seal the sector, and let it exhaust itself over several cycles. Edwin was examining the containment unit with one arm, while her other arm held some kind of scanning device. "The field generator is fried." Her voice came through the communication system. She sounded annoyed. Annoyed. Not terrified. Not even concerned. Annoyed, like she'd discovered someone had eaten her lunch. Looks like a power surge feedback loop. Classic cascade failure. "Give me like 5 minutes." "Edwin," I said, forcing my voice to remain steady. "That organism can dissolve flesh on contact. Please evacuate with the researchers."
Yeah,
"Yeah,
it's a
I
bit tricky
know.
in here.
I'm being
Gotta
careful."
rewire a few
She had
things
opened a
and
panel on the
should be
containment
good to
unit
go.
and was now
Don't
elbow
worry, I
deep
got
in the
this.
machinery, while the Zelkoth symbiote writhed 3 feet away. "Besides, these people need to get out. That one guy looks really sick." She was right. One of the trapped researchers, an Althean, I noted had already begun showing signs of toxic exposure. Their respiratory slits were inflamed. "The organism is approaching your position," Plexor said. His voice had gone high and chittering. "I see it." Edwin didn't look up from her work. The pseudopods were extending toward her, questing, toxic surfaces glistening under the lab lights. 6 inches away. 4 inches. 2 inches. My skin went white again. The pseudopod touched Edwin's arm. She glanced at it, wrinkled her nose, another expression I didn't understand, and then, with her free hand, she simply pushed it away. "Gross," she muttered. "Okay, rerouting power through the secondary coupling now." The containment field flickered, stabilized.
Keep moving, hurry!
The
Are you
Zelkoth
injured?
symbiote recoiled from the sudden magnetic pressure, withdrawing its pseudopods and condensing
Almost
back
there.
into the containment unit. Edwin slammed the panel shut and engaged the locks with a satisfying mechanical click. "There. Good as new. Well, not new. You'll need to replace the primary generator, but it'll hold for now." She turned to the researchers. "You guys okay? That one dude needs medical attention like immediately." The researchers fled. They moved past Edwin in a stampede of various limbs and locomotion methods, leaving her standing alone in the lab, wiping some kind of residue off her arm with a cloth. "Edwin," I said carefully, "the Zelkoth symbiote touched you." "Yeah, that was nasty. Probably should shower." She was already walking toward the exit, tools clinking on her belt. "It dissolves organic tissue on contact." "Oh." She looked at her arm. There was a red mark where the pseudopod had touched, but the skin was intact. "Huh. Must not work on humans. Or maybe I just didn't leave it there long enough." She shrugged. "Add it to the list of weird Earth biology stuff, I guess." She walked past us into the corridor, leaving me and Plexor standing in silence. "I am going to file an emergency council session," I said quietly. "Right now. Immediately." "I'll prep the presentation," Plexor replied. His antennae were growing back crooked. The emergency council hall was designed to be impressive. Descending tiers of seats, dramatic lighting, acoustic optimization for maximum gravitas. 17 species representatives filled the chamber. Their various forms of attention focused on me as I stood at the central platform. My skin was a steady, deep crimson. I had given up trying to control it. "Esteemed council members," I began. 47 hours ago, I discovered that our database entry for humanity was deleted. Upon investigation, I learned that the entry was removed by a human who believed it was corrupted. She was correct. Our assessment was catastrophically inaccurate. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. I pulled up the holographic display, a human silhouette rotating in the center of the space. Humans originate from a Class M variant death world with 9.8 standard gravity and 21% atmospheric oxygen. For context, No other sapient species in the Alliance evolved in gravity exceeding 8.2, and anything above 18% oxygen is classified as a fire hazard environment. A council member, I recognize the Thelian representative, raised a manipulator appendage. Surely that's a data error. It is not. I gestured to Plexer, who pulled up Earth's planetary data. Humans are persistence hunters who evolved to chase prey to exhaustion across their world's surface. They possess redundant organs, regenerative capabilities, and an emergency adrenal response that temporarily exceeds their normal physical limitations at the cost of tissue damage, which they then heal from. Another council member, the crystalline Vox, chimed in confusion. How is this possible? The energy requirements alone. They consume high-calorie organic matter regularly, sometimes multiple times per cycle. Their metabolism operates at levels we would classify as concerning fever in most species. I pulled up the next display, an image of a canine. Humans domesticated their apex predators and selectively bred them into various forms for companionship, labor, and aesthetic purposes. They share living spaces with these predators. This is considered normal in human culture. The hall had gone very quiet. Additionally, I continued, my beak clicking nervously, humans possess a ranged attack capability. Their shoulder joints allow them to throw projectiles with lethal force and accuracy. They can see in color, track movement across a wide visual range, and their auditory systems detect distress frequencies across multiple species communication bands. Plexor pulled up the medical wing footage. 45 minutes ago, one of the humans on this station entered a Class 7 containment breach and restored the field generator while in direct proximity to a Zelkoth symbiote. The organism made physical contact with her. She survived with minor skin irritation. The Thelian representative stood. Director, are you saying humans are toxic resistant? We don't know, I admitted. My skin was now cycling through colors again. We don't know the full extent of their capabilities because the original survey was filed 200 cycles ago and apparently failed to investigate anything beyond surface-level diplomatic contact. What threat level are you proposing? The Vox's harmonic voice resonated through the chamber. I pulled up the final display, a new database entry, blank except for the title. I am proposing we classify humanity as a Category 8 existential threat, pending full biological and cultural assessment. Chaos erupted. Council members were vocalizing in 17 different methods of communication, creating a cacophony that made my sensory tendrils curl. Category 8? The Thelian was flashing distress colors. That classification is reserved for species capable of... The door to the emergency council hall opened. Edwin walked in, carrying her cylindrical drink container and looking confused. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Someone said there was an emergency meeting about humans. I'm like the only human on the station, so I figured I should probably be here. She noticed the holographic display of her species rotating in the center of the hall. Oh, cool. You guys are doing the assessment thing. Need me to answer more questions? Every being in the hall focused on her. 17 species worth of attention, much of it fearful. Edwin took a drink from her container, completely unbothered. So, she said cheerfully, what do you want to know? I looked at Plexor. His antennae had fallen off again. I looked at the council members, many of whom had activated personal defense fields. I looked at Edwin, who was smiling, baring her teeth in a friendly gesture that had evolved from a species that chased its food to death. Everything, I said faintly. We want to know everything. Edwin pulled out a chair designed for a different species' anatomy and sat in it anyway, somehow making it work. Okay, cool. This might take a while, though. Humans are pretty complicated. She paused. Oh, also, I finished the defrag. Your database should be running way faster now. You're welcome. My skin achieved a new color, one that would later be added to Acarian medical texts, under the heading, Stress Response to Paradigm Shift. The human had fixed our database. The same database she'd deleted her species from. The same database we were now desperately trying to update with accurate information about why humans were absolutely, categorically, horrifyingly not non-threats. Edwin took another drink and waited expectantly. I realized, with a clarity that transcended my fear, that humanity had been in the Alliance for 1 standard year and had already fundamentally altered our understanding of what was biologically possible. "Let's start," I said, "with why you thought the non-threat classification was obviously wrong." Edwin grinned wider. My skin went colors that would require new names.